on, everybody? We're back. Monday morning, July 2nd. We got a big one going. Jake, do you have like a jet engine behind you right now?
I don't.
It was not like this until I clicked let's go. I don't know. My bad. What's up, everybody?
I haven't changed anything.
Nah, you're good. We got a decent slate tonight. 9 games. High-end pitching. Weird hitting stacks that I didn't expect me to like, but I like. And a value pitcher that is expected to be in half of the lineups. So, Jake, how was your weekend?
The weekend was good. Family here, still here, so they'll be hanging around for the 4th of July. So if anybody pokes their head in here, you know why. Yeah, DFS was fine this weekend, and looking forward to making some money, but maybe not as much as you this weekend. You were on fire.
I had a decent weekend. I'm going to get that mini-max before this season's over, man. I better, at least.
I mean, you've been close a couple times, even in the last couple weeks, I think. So I think you're going to get
third, fourth, seventh. I'm trying to corner the market on everything in the top 10. But I want that #1 spot. I want to be able to be a guest on the night or on the live stream.
Oh yeah, I would like that as well.
I feel like I could bring a lot to the table on a Tuesday or Thursday.
Exactly.
Alrighty, 9 games. Oop, we got a question already. Let's check it out. If I'm making only 3 lineups, what's your tip on lineup construction? 3 different stacks or 1 stack with different one-off guys? How do I go about pitch? Okay, so basically, how do I play 3 lineups? We'll hit this question and then we'll get started. You definitely want to have some differentiation. If you're going to play 3 lineups, the whole point of playing 3 is to give yourself a couple unique shots. If you're not making any real changes, not a huge reason to play 3 separate lineups. So I would probably have, I don't know, 3 or 4 pitchers, depending on the slate. I'd probably have at least 3 teams, maybe 4, in some sort of order in there. But I would basically just want, like, the most unique stuff I could get. I would want very, very little overlap across those 3 lines. I would want to have the best shot of getting one of those to the top of the of a tournament. Yeah.
So Alex and Tom, they talk about just differentiating, especially in a variant sport like baseball. So with 3 lineups, you obviously want to have them in like a 3 max or different single entries, maybe if you want to do that. So that's the most important thing. You want to have them in a 3 max tournament, so you're maxing out those entries. So what I might do is, if I love one pitcher, maybe in the mid range, have them in 2 out of the 3 lineups.
Yeah.
And if you like someone in the low range, you have them in 2 out of 3, and then someone in the high range, you have them in 2 out of 3, and sort of mix and match them. Change the lineup construction with each lineup. So maybe you have like a Scherzer with a Castillo in one lineup, and then maybe you go with like an Eovaldi Loaiziga in one lineup, just to get a different lineup and fill in the stacks around them. So you have different different lineup constructions across your 3 lineups, I think, is the most important thing for me.
Yeah, and if we're talking baseball specifically, if I had 3, there's no way I would have anyone in all 3, barring any weird pricing errors. In the NBA, I wouldn't have a problem with having someone in all 3 lineups because it's a different way of going about it. The variance is significantly off compared to baseball. So I would set, I mean, if I were using like Fantasy Cruncher or something, I would set max exposure on every player to 67 so that they could show up in 2 of 3, set a decently high unique player number, and just do 3 lineups. And you should get, like, I mean, we can even sort of, we'll go over that later. So it'll jack up all the settings for what we're doing. But yeah, like you could just do a 3 lineup crunch and get 3 very distinctly unique lineups. Like I wouldn't want the same 5-man stack in 2 of those 3. I would want I would probably have 3 separate primary stacks.
Yeah, and then you could have, like, if you have a primary stack in one, but you really like that team, you mini stack it with 2 or 3 players in a different lineup or something like that.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's a good question for a Monday morning. I wasn't ready for that good of a question.
I agree. Those are the sorts of things where like you just need to. It makes so much more sense once you hear it.
Yes.
I remember the first time like I started like hearing about the logistics of mass entering and like trying to spread your ownership, and I was just like, oh yeah, like my goal isn't to get first through 10th in the tournament. My goal is to just get to first. The payout is disproportionate. It'll fund the rest of everything that I need to do, you know?
You want to hit once. You don't want to min cash 5 times.
Right.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
That's something that I still kind of struggle with, is not getting different enough and going too in on players in a sport like baseball where they could easily go 0 for 5.
Yeah, I took a... we'll get to starting this up, I guess, in a little bit. So I started taking a look at doing a hitter sim similar to the pitcher sim and the stuff that Alex does. And I was trying to get a feel of like how likely different hitters would be to be top scorers at a certain position. So I built one out for, I think it was Friday's data, but it could have been Thursday's. And I just looked at third baseman, since DraftKings, ignoring the people that have dual eligibility, like you're not cross-pollinating player pools with utility guys and stuff. So there were like, I don't know, 16 third basemen or 18 third basemen, however many were playing that day. And I wanted to see what their chances were of being like a top 4 scorer at the position, which I felt like was probably a big enough bucket where you were getting like a decent scoring guy. Because you don't need to have the nuts at every position. That'd be insane. You just kind of want to have guys that played and did something. And just to be like a top 5 scorer on a set of 18, like even the best guys were only going to be a top 5 guy like 25% of the time. It was like comically low. The spread of potential outcomes for hitters were super, super, super bunched up. And that was the first time like it really clicked to me. Oh yeah, like that's why we're going to stack. We just need the opportunities to be synced up. To pick any one guy to be a top 5 scorer is basically a coin flip. So you're really trying to focus on the game first before you pick that individual player. At least based on that sort of data. It shook me, man. When I saw like somebody decent was at like 25 to 30%, and I was like, oh my god, I thought like the top guy would have been a top 5 scorer 4 or 5, like half of the time or closer to that. Not even close. So yeah, I'll have hitter sim soon enough.
That would be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I took a look at tennis projections last night, which I got to the point where I just had to go to bed. It was driving me nuts. I would have appreciated a little bit more info earlier, DraftKings. I didn't need 2 days before the first tennis tournament to lose my mind.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to answer this right now when we're talking to a handful of people, but are we having tennis projections or?
We haven't had, I mean, no one's talked to me about it yet.
Okay.
We'll see what the tournament structures and stuff look like. We're going to chase the biggest tournaments that we can for like content, you know? So if League of Legends had like the same sort of outlay as baseball, then we would talk about League of Legends this much, but we'll see where tennis gets to. I like the idea of DFS tennis. It's kind of like baseball in a way that there's, in theory, so much data and so many like points. It's like a cross between baseball and basketball, because I would expect the variance to be really low in tennis because it's just opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. But I would guess that it would be also kind of super variable in the way that you get your points, because you can still win and it can be 3 straight 7-5s or 3 straight 6-love, 6-love, 6-loves. And like, I still don't even know how that will shake out from a scoring system. So I need to like run everything. I'm miles away from being ready.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit, looked into the settings, and I was like, all right, I'm kidding myself here if I'm going to try to come up with anything of worth in the next couple days. I looked at it right away, and I was like, well, we'll save this. Maybe chat with some other people before I start.
Yeah, and obviously I'm gonna need Fantasy Cruncher to go ahead and get that availability out there for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you ready to talk baseball?
I am.
That was quite the lengthy intro. First game up, and it's a doozy for me. My own personal rivalry game. Braves and Yankees. Braves 4.5 run implied total. Yankees 5.0. It's a 56% chance to win for the Yanks. Anibal Sanchez going for Atlanta. Jonathan Loaisiga, not Domingo Herman, going for the Yanks. I like both of these guys in a weird way. And like is, let's be clear here. Like is a minimal term. We don't have these guys getting any real ownership. I'll probably have them in like the 5 or 6% range, just as guys, getting rotated through at, well, at least Anibal Sanchez, a relatively low price. So they're fine. They're not anybody that I want to just smash. But I think they're a little bit better than like not owned, which is where we have them right now.
Sure. So I'm surprised you're on Anibal with the 5.6 run total for the Yankees. So that's.
What do you see it at?
5.6?
I might not be on Anibal any longer if that's what it actually is.
Yeah. I think I'm looking at the same place you look. So
I might not have changed it if it changed from last night.
it's at a 9.5. I've got, 9.7, 5.6 to the Yankees, 4.1 to the Braves.
9.5. Yeah. I've got a difference, but I only have 5 to the Yankees.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like it went up another half run, or maybe Vegas has more respect for Domingo or for Loaisiga than Herman or something.
But, so the line opened at Yankees minus 182 last night when I thought it was. So that's probably what you're seeing. Someone hasn't updated the money line.
Okay.
It's now Yankees minus 132.
Oh, I'm seeing Yankees minus 190.
Yeah. So okay. So every book. This could change, I guess, but I don't think that it will because of the book that I'm looking at. Every other book looks to still have the Domingo Herman version of this line. And Pinnacle, which is kind of like the book when it comes to smart action, has what I believe to be the Loaisiga line now. So I think the other books are slow to the jump.
So that makes sense a little bit.
Let me make sure it's just not my website fucking it up.
No, I think you're right there. I don't see why Herman's a better pitcher than Loaisiga, right? So,
well, the game's not on Pinnacle's legit site, so it might be in the 180s, and you might be right.
I don't know, but anyways.
Well, that matters because I definitely don't like Atlanta if New York gets 0.6 of a run more.
Yeah.
Yeah, 190 on 5 dimes right now. I'm gonna change it.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I like Loaisiga. I think he's a good pitcher, good swinging strike rate, all the stuff I look for. Gets chases, which I like, and then he's had a few good starts, giving up some hard contact, but this Braves team hasn't been the same. And then, I mean, I was saying that kind of last week a little bit, but if you look at their top 6, that's a really tough top 6 with Acuna back, Flowers in that lineup, and then even Camargo I think is a pretty good hitter. So it's not the easiest matchup for Loaisiga, but I think it's one where I'm going to have a bunch of him just because he's 8,300, and I don't want all my exposure to come to one guy in this range. So I'll have some Loaisiga. I think he's a solid option, especially if he's going to be low owned.
Yeah, I'm much more on Loaisiga now, logistically, than I was 2 minutes ago, and I will not have any Anibal Sanchez.
Okay, that's what I thought. I mean, I don't think it's the craziest play. Sanchez has been good in missing bats and pretty low xFIP, but man, 5.6 total in Yankee Stadium. That's tough to do. Good. Especially with the elephant in the room, Luis Castillo. Like, it's just such a worse spot for Sanchez, and you have to pay more.
Bigger than an elephant today.
Yeah, I don't even know what you call that, because if you guys are premium, you can see the ownership on Luis Castillo. It's enormous.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so hitting then. We are projecting the Yankees to be quite chalky. The chalkiest stack of the day, which I honestly did not expect. But it's a little bit different now at this run total compared to where it was, which I guess while we're talking, I can rerun my stuff with that updated total.
Sure.
I mean, I clearly like the Yankees, but I won't have 15% of the aggregate ownership, which is what we're projecting right now. To me, that's a bit too high. I'll come in a little under that, but they're, you know, probably a top 3 stack, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're firmly in the top 5 for me. Just that run total, great stadium. You get Didi at home. He can hit home runs right over to right field. Seems to do that all the time in Yankee Stadium. You got Hicks from the left side, Bird from the left side, hitting a little bit better lately. So those guys I love against Sanchez. And then the righties, you get our Judge, Stanton, Andujar, and Torres. Like, that's just a hellish lineup to face. So I like the Yankees a lot. What's that?
Kind of scary.
Yeah. So I'm not attacking them with Anibal Sanchez. It's just I'm talking myself out of it as we go along, which I like.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Yeah, it was a much different outcome when the Yankees only had a 5-run implied total. I was like, 6,300. I could get there if I need to, especially with this nonsense Luis Castillo ownership. But maybe not. Not going to go that direction. So yeah, Gardner, Judge, Gregorius, Stanton, Greg Bird, Hicks, I guess. I don't really like the idea of Hicks hitting 5th, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, I love Hicks. I think
like
he's
Hicks,
awesome.
I don't like him in the 5 hole.
Oh man, I wish he was batting leadoff. Get Brett Gardner out of there. I mean, Gardner.
Yeah, like I would prefer Hicks in the leadoff spot.
Yeah. I mean, who would you swap? Bird and Hicks? Bird and Andujar? Or
Probably
Hicks and
I would
Andujar?
probably move Andujar higher.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's just
Bird
such a deep lineup.
I think Bird would naturally fit in that 5 hole.
And it might be that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But awesome lineup either way.
Any Braves bats?
Yes. Freeman, and I like Markakis a little bit. But that is about it.
I think Freeman would be the only guy that I would look to as like a one-off.
Okay.
It's just going to be really hard to get to. I can't imagine grabbing 3 more Braves. And we're not projecting any ownership to the Braves, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think Loic is good, so I'm not, like, full stacking against him, but I can understand a couple bats. It's good hitting weather, and it's a good stadium.
If we were projecting more ownership to Loic guy, I'd look into it, but if he's not getting any ownership, I don't see any value in the Braves. However, I would really like the Braves to win so that I can talk shit to my dad, because he is a Yankees fan.
There you go.
It was really great being like 12 years old and then playing in the World Series, because he didn't hold back. he treated me like I was a peer. Anything else here?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, I'm definitely interested in... This should be interesting. Kyle Higashioka, the projected catcher for the Yankees. He sucks. But he's 2,300. I'll take a flyer on a $2,300 catcher on DK.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I'll take your word that he sucks, though. 2,300 is fine for a catcher in any stack, though.
Right. I want to make sure I said it because I have him like a lot. That's the price point, man.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
Nope. I mean, I don't like. That's the lowest salary I think I've ever seen on DraftKings.
They've been doing a good job not having min-priced players, like even at the catcher position this year. I think Miguel Montero was 2,100 earlier in the year when I played him.
Okay.
But that's about it. I haven't seen many players below like 25.
Yeah, that's 23 is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, Red Sox and Nats. We're gonna have a lot to talk about here, kind of. 3.3 run implied total for the Red Sox, 4.1 for the Nats. 59% chance to win for Washington. Rick Porcello going for Boston. Max Scherzer going for the Nats. Okay, so here it is. I like Scherzer a lot. He's in for 27% right now. For me, I'm going to have more than that. We're projecting him for 26% ownership. I'm looking to come in around 40. Big fan of Scherzer. I'm absolutely terrified of the Red Sox and their performance against right-handers. But it's a 3.3 run implied total for the Red Sox, and I can't shake that. Scherzer's got a 9.5K projection in my model right now, way higher than anybody else on the slate. I'm going to bet on Scherzer here more than the Red Sox bats, and I'm going to have a lot of him. I'll happily pay up, and I'll be over the field. I'm terrified, though.
So, yeah, just to, push back on the Scherzer thing, I like him, but so that Red Sox lineup and then the weather, and the 3.3 run total against Scherzer is actually pretty high when he's at home, which is weird to say. It's usually like around 3 or under 3, but that is some decent respect that Vegas is giving the Red Sox. When you look at 1 through 5, that looks like a terrible matchup for Scherzer, but then look at 6 through 9. You get the pitcher spot with Porcello, who usually isn't hitting. Holt, Devers, Sandy Leon, there's some strikeouts in there. And he's Scherzer, and he's going to come in relatively low owned for him, 25% around. That's attractive to me, and it's not that hard to get over the field with him. So doesn't he seem like a kind of guy that gets up for these kind of big matchups too?
I have no idea.
It seems like every time he's in like a tough matchup, he's just out there K'ing 10 guys. Like, I can just see it, like possible World Series matchup here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a narrative thing that doesn't matter, but it just seems like that always happens. So that's not the reason to play him. The reason to play him is because he's so dominant against both hands this year and just misses so many bats. Like, he might give up a solo shot or two, but I think the strikeouts will be there regardless.
I've got him 9.5. I have Robbie Ray second at 8.1.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I wouldn't have anyone close to Scherzer either.
Yeah. Kluber just doesn't have the matchup for it.
He would be my second guy, but I wouldn't project him anywhere near that, I don't think. So.
What do you think about the Nats bats? I get a little bit more of them on FanDuel than I do on DK. So I'm actually over the field on FanDuel and under the field on DraftKings.
No, I like the Nats bats, and I don't think they're going to be very popular either, which makes me like them even more. Porcello can strike out lefties, but gives up a lot of line drives to them, a lot of hard contact, almost 40%. XFIP is fine, but he's getting some help from his batting average on balls in play. And then you've got Juan Soto, who's just red hot right now, Daniel Murphy, Bryce Harper, and Adam Eaton. And then let me see how Porcello is on stolen bases. See if we can play some Trey Turner. Yeah, Porcello is like average, maybe a little below average at preventing steals over the last few years. So I think the Nat stack is perfectly fine. Even Rendon in there, 1 through 6, 95 degrees. Porcello's been hit hard before. I'm not worried about stacking against him. So I'm with you on the Nats.
Nice. Yeah, they've got a little bit better of a price point on FanDuel than they do on DK, but I'll have them regardless. Like, Adam Eaton's only 3,100. Daniel Murphy's only 2,700. But he's first base eligible, which is kind of a pain in the ass, and not second base eligible like he is on DK.
Mm-hmm.
So Eaton, Turner, Harper, Rendon, Soto, Murphy. I'll even have a little, potentially Mark Reynolds on FanDuel. They're a stack I like a lot there. I'm neutral to the field on DK, so I won't go too crazy there.
Yeah.
Will you go to anything on the Red Sox?
I will probably leave Mookie, JD, and Benintendi in my player pool just as leverage, but I'm going to manually have their projections way down. So they might sneak into a few lineups, but I don't think I'm going to stack against Scherzer. I don't think that's a great idea. I mean, unless they were going to be like 1%, and I don't think they're going to be 1% owned like we have them right now. I think people will still play the big names if they don't play Scherzer. So that's the only problem, is I don't think they're going to be unowned.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm going to be safely away from them. I don't really see anybody that I would like. I mean, I'm not going to be mad if like Betts or Benintendi or JD or Moreland pop up, but I won't have any Red Sox tonight.
You're not even getting like a discount on them either. Like Mookie 5,500 against righty against Scherzer. That sucks. And Scherzer struggles with lefty power a little bit, not really this year, but in years past. So that's why I was saying maybe Benintendi, but I'm not excited about playing any hitter as leverage against Scherzer right now.
Works for me. Time to talk about one of my favorite things of the day. This is going to be just an interesting conversation all around. What the Dude, I reran my DK stuff, and now that I have Wei and Chen in, I got 45% Wei and Chen. I didn't adjust his ownership. Oh, God, I'll have to recrunch this again.
Wei and chalk.
I like that. Apparently. Anyway, Rays 3.9 run implied total. Marlins 3.6. It's a 54% chance to win for the Rays. Nate Eovaldi going for Tampa. Wei in chalk going for Miami. All right, we've got Chen projected for 20% ownership. Somehow I just ended up with 45, so I need to correct that. I never changed his default exposure. That's why that happened. I love the Rays today. They are just crazy cheap. They're one of my top 3 stacks, and they are the team that I'm going to use to be able to get to anything expensive today. I like the Rays way more than I like Chen. I'll only have Chen in like 8% of lineups. I'll be half of the field if we keep that 20% rate. What do you think about Eovaldi and Chen?
Yeah, Eovaldi I like actually quite a bit. I wrote him up in Spotlight Pitchers, which I will publish here in a second. But he's coming off a very good start against the Nationals, which is impressive, in a pitcher's park. Who knows if they're going to close the roof here in Miami. It's 87 degrees. That would help, at least in terms of me wanting to play Eovaldi. And he's only allowing 28% hard contact with a 26% K rate and 0.69 whip against righties. And then he's going to see probably 6 of them tonight. And then it's the Marlins. As a team, they just don't have much power. They strike out above average against righties this year. And I'm just really impressed by that last start against Washington. So I'll take another stab at Eovaldi tonight at 8,700. I think he's overpriced a little bit, but that's just going to make his ownership lower than it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've got a decent amount of ownership projected for him. I'm actually a little bit higher on him.
What do you have him at? I thought we had him at like under 10, right?
Yeah, we have him at 7. I mean, that's not bad, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable.
That's the highest of the guys that aren't getting like real traction.
True.
And I get it. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you face the Marlins and a 3.6 run implied total.
Yeah.
he's a product of the game.
Right.
So I like Eovaldi a little bit. I like Chen a little bit, but no way will I be anywhere near 20% Chen. That's that one's not for me.
No. I mean, has Chen even been good? I haven't been paying attention to him. I rarely look into him much just because we kind of know what he is at this point. He's very good against lefties, strikes them out a lot. But when he's going to get a righty-heavy lineup, he should never be chalk, I don't think. Even though it is the Rays, they're not a team I just blindly target against, especially with lefties. Like they have Ramos in there, CJ Cron, Daniel Robertson I like a little bit. So I'll play these righties against Chen rather than playing anywhere close to 20% of Wei and Chen.
I completely agree. So I wrote up the Rays and spotlight hitters and stacks, but their bargain price is just insane. Kiermaier, Duffy, Robertson, CJ Cron, Carlos Gomes. I get Wilson Ramos quite a bit on DK, not as much on FanDuel. On FanDuel, he's the only guy in the 3,000s. Everyone else is in the 2s. It's just... The Rays are like a free square today, and they only have a 3.9 run implied total. So I'm having trouble like balancing what I think should happen in this game, but I'm going to have a lot of Rays. I'm way, way, way above the field.
Yeah, I will be above the field as well. That's just not enough ownership for me to be off of them on any of these guys. So, yeah, give me some Rays. I mean, why do people want to play Chen outside of his $4,600 price? I hate playing guys just because of their price, but 643 xFIP against righties this year, allowing almost 34% hard contact, a ton of fly balls, whip almost 190, and then a 12% K rate. I don't know. I'll get it.
Yeah, neither do I. The Rays are just like my key. I might switch their exposure so that I don't get them as any 5-man stacks and I get them as all my 3s on DK and just have them like everywhere. Hoping that everybody, you just get like a 2 for 4 with a walk type day. And just have 3 guys from the Rays at no salary and 12 fantasy points.
Even if you full stack them, you could get to Scherzer and another solid pitcher and be different, I think.
And a power 3 stack. So
I like it.
I'm all over the Rays. I don't get the sense that you're going to hear that all that often today. So if it works out right, make sure to give me credit.
Yeah.
Tag me. And then if they get shut out, I'm going to delete this video from YouTube.
Yeah, you'll never hear about it again.
Nope, won't bring it up one bit. It's another fun day today. Do you know what day it is?
It is Luis Castillo Day.
Well, it is James Shields Day, which means stacking some Reds, but same game. White Sox and Reds, 4-run implied total for the White Sox, 5.3 for the Reds, 62% chance to win for Cincinnati. James Shields going for Chicago. The previously mentioned Luis Castillo being the uber chalk of the day, going for Cincinnati, projecting 58% ownership on DK, 22% ownership on FanDuel. He's $1,400 more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DK tonight. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm not going to be anywhere near 58%. I think that is outlandish. I'll have half of that at best. And then what I do want to do is smash the Reds. So I guess go to pitching first. Where do you stand on Castillo?
Yeah, so I wrote him up, and I was expecting pretty good ownership on him. I was expecting around 30-ish, just because he's so cheap, clearly underpriced on DraftKings. So that's obvious. 25% K rate against righties for the White Sox this year. And then Castillo, when he struggles, it's because he's not getting ahead of people and he's getting wild. And the White Sox are actually second in the MLB in first pitch strike rate over the last 30 days and first for the season. So it seems like it would be a good matchup for Castillo. I mean, the White Sox do have some power at the top of that order. Is Matt Davidson not going to be in there? Because I like it even more if Matt Davidson's not in there. I don't see him in the projected. But anyways, this White Sox lineup isn't just like some pushover. They do have power. They can get to Castillo. And then Castillo's just volatile himself. So at 58% to stack against a volatile pitcher, I think that's a fine strategy, even though the White Sox aren't anywhere near my favorite stack. But Castillo's upside is just so huge here if he can get ahead. I think he could have a ton of strikeouts and he could break the slate at that price. That's the thing. Like, it's hard to get away from him at that price.
So this game, I honestly hope all this ownership holds, especially on FanDuel. We're projecting Castillo for 22%. I'll have him around 11, so basically half. And I'm mashing the White Sox on FanDuel. They're my number 3 stack. They're kind of similar to the Rays in that they're just dirt cheap. Moncada, 3,100. Sanchez, 2,900. Abreu 3,400, Avisail Garcia 2,700, and then Lurie Garcia is only 2,100. So you don't have to really spend a ton of money to take the White Sox on FanDuel. So I'm going to be way under on Castillo, and I'll have massive amounts of White Sox. So I'm hoping that game goes the opposite direction. On DK, the White Sox pricing sucks, so I don't really get to him a lot, but I'll probably try to get a little bit more just because Luis Castillo shouldn't be owned in half of the lineups in a tournament. So I don't get that ownership, but I'll still have probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 25% Castillo. It's a great spot.
Yeah. I think if you are leveraging against Castillo, if you don't want to go with a full stack, you can go with Moncada, you can go with Abreu, and Avisail Garcia I like quite a bit against Castillo just for a chance at a home run, because Castillo will make mistakes. Shields on the other side, everyone's favorite pitcher to stack against, not necessarily my favorite pitcher to stack against, because he can do what he did in his last outing and go 7 innings and get 5 strikeouts. He's very frustrating, especially this year. He's done a good job not getting blown up, but this would be the type of lineup that could get to him. A bunch of lefties, some lefties with some power. You've got Suarez in there. Winker is a pretty decent hitter. I don't know. I'm torn because I think the Reds are going to come in over-owned, but I do like them as a stack. So
yeah, they're top 3 for me as well. I can't get away from it. James Shields sucks.
He does suck, but he does miss bats, and that's valuable. Like, if you just look at how deep he's gone over his last even like 12 or 13 starts, he's going 6 or 7 innings all but once. He went 4 2/3. So even when he's giving up runs, it's not like he's getting completely wrecked, which is what you want.
5.09 xFIP on the season.
Yeah, he's like a Cashner type where everyone, like, his numbers suck for the season, but he's just kind of like whatever, and he eats innings.
Oh God, Shields, I hate you. Go Reds. Go Reds. Go White Sox on FanDuel. Whew. What a game.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah, man. I really want to pay attention to the Luis Castillo ownership projections for the rest of the day. I want to see how far that falls. Because it'll fall. It's not going to stay at 58.
Yeah, people will get chalkier as the day goes on, I think.
Yeah. Lorenzo Robinson, don't do it. Don't attack James Shields. Yeah, I'm going to attack James Shields. He's the worst pitcher on the slate.
If you just go by the numbers, he is one of the worst pitchers on the slate, I agree. But he is capable of going deep like he's done almost every start this year, which is very surprising.
I hope he does.
He goes deep?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
But even if you get like
throw
5
6 innings and still give up 7 runs, that's fine by me.
He's only given up more than 5 twice, which is like, okay, I mean, it's fine if you get 5 runs, but you need more than that out of your stack if they're going to be this highly priced and that highly owned. I'm not saying he's going to have a good start here or even close to that. I mean, the more likelihood is that he gets rocked in 4 innings, but he just keeps doing it.
Yeah, I'll take my chances. I'm loading up. Give me them Reds. Marge Shot, I love you. Alrighty. Jakes and Brewers. Jakes 4-run implied total. Brewers 4.5. It's a 56% chance to win for the Brew Crew. Kyle Gibson going for the Jakes. Brent Suter going for Milwaukee. This game just kind of exists in a weird way. I'm like all over weird parts of this. Not all over. So I'll have a little, I'll be right with the field-ish on Suter. I'll be right with the field-ish